Hello, my name is Eric Fausner. I'm the executive online editor of the Golden Gate University Law Review, and today I'm sitting down with Cheri Hawkins about her paper on ethical prosecutions. Cheri, thanks for joining me.
No problem. Thank you for having me.
Now, I thought your paper was fascinating, and the topic that you discuss is ethics in the aspect of how district attorneys' offices recruit and retain students and lawyers.
Yes.
What inspired you to write about this topic?
The class that we were taking in ethical prosecutions when we first got started, Professor Cambry presented a hypothetical to us where we knew that the individual was actually innocent but the evidence was against him. And she asked us, what we would do with that situation, and a lot of the reasoning why people chose that they would continue to prosecute was because their job was to win, and that's how they defined it. And as the semester progressed, people stuck by that mindset, and it really irritated me. So that's what prompted my paper.
Why do you think that there's an assumption in the general population and also among law students, even in your class, that a prosecutor's job is to win, despite the evidence, as you said in that hypothetical, where someone's innocent but the evidence could show that they're guilty?
I'm not really sure why people think that, that's their job. I mean, I know why I think people are attracted to it, because winning is great. Everybody likes to win, nobody wants to be a loser, but why exactly people think that's our job or the job of a prosecutor, I'm not sure.
One interesting thing that you address in your paper are different types of people that are attracted to becoming a prosecutor, and specifically the wrong type of person. So could you please describe briefly what type of person you don't believe belongs in a prosecutor's office?
People who are just pursuing it for self-gratification, for purposes of winning, for feeling like they've accomplished something by getting a win at the end of it. I don't think that those are the right people for the job.
Well, why don't you believe those are the right sort of people?
I just don't think that that's the right reason to want to be a prosecutor. I think that being a prosecutor means seeking justice, and that entails a lot of things, and you may not always come out with a win at the end. I think that if you look at your job like that, you'll be going down the wrong road.
Now, do you personally have experience working in prosecutors' offices?
Yes, I've worked since my 2L spring semester, I believe, at 2 different DA's offices here in the Bay.
And what has your experience been like in those offices?
I've worked with awesome prosecutors in both San Mateo and Santa Clara County, and I haven't seen any unethical practices at either office. Very integrity and being transparent is huge in both of those offices, and I think that that's what it should remain to be. And so when I hear people in that class talking about winning and despite what everything says that their job is to win at the end of the day, it just scares me because I don't want those sort of people tainting that sort of office culture.
Now, although the experience you've had in the 2 district attorneys' offices you've worked at, you've only seen ethical practices, It is true that there are some prosecutors that have gotten in trouble for unethical practices.
Yeah, that's how we get cases like Brady.
Now, what do you, and in your paper you address this, what do you think could be changed so that these sorts of people would either not be interested in becoming prosecutors, or people that have that kind of personality that they want to get ahead at any cost would be forced, I guess, to act more ethically within the district attorney's office?
I think some practical application at the beginning in your entrance stage, whether it be post-bar or even any opportunity that you can have while you're working there as an intern, just really to present evidence and just different situations, hypotheticals, even post-hypotheticals, to incoming potential prosecutors, and see how they would handle it, see what their ethical status and their moral compass, where it's located, and see how they would deal with those sort of situations. And I think another good thing to implement would be psychological testing like they do for police officers, really just to see where people's heads are.
Another interesting aspect that you addressed in your paper, a solution, is what you called changing the office culture. Now, what sort of office culture do you think that prosecutors' offices in general need to move away from?
The getting promoted because you win. If it's a statistics thing based on how many cases you win, I just don't think that that's incentivizing the right behavior.
In your experience, is that how a lot of prosecutors' offices
Mm-hmm.
do promotions based on how many wins you have?
From what I understand, generally that's how promotions work. I can't speak for any personal experience because I don't see that at Santa Clara or San Mateo, but I do know, like, generally speaking, across the board, that's usually how you get promoted, by winning.
Cheri, if you were master of the universe, what would you do to change office culture? Like, what would a DA's office run by Cheri Hawkins look like when it comes to promotions?
It would just be incentivizing ethical behavior and a hard work ethic and good work ethic.
How would you incentivize ethical behaviors in a prosecutor's office if you were in charge?
I think promoting an open forum would allow for people to feel more comfortable with addressing any evidentiary issues that may come up or ethical issues, and seeing people have these discussions openly. I think that you should incentivize that sort of behavior and reward that sort of behavior. People that not only do they get the job done, but they get it done ethically. I think that's what needs to be incentivized.
And one interesting topic that you discuss in your article is the idea of justice and how some people don't understand it the way that you do. So could you really describe what you think justice means?
I think that justice means putting your faith in the system that we have and trusting that it will work the way it's supposed to. I think that our system, like anything, is flawed. Nothing's perfect. And I think at the end of a trial, if things don't come out the way that you felt the evidence was going to call for it to come out, that you have to accept it for what it is, because you put this decision in the hands of 12 people, and whatever they came back with is what you have to roll with. And that's the system that we have, and that's the system as prosecutors that we have to buy into. We can't take it upon ourselves to start shifting things around to get the outcome that we want.
Now, you do describe in your paper how sometimes prosecutors feel that the person they're prosecuting is guilty,
Mm-hmm.
but maybe there's not enough evidence to show that, and that is kind of an incentive to go astray from an ethical prosecution. Now, what sort of remedies do you think you could put into a district attorney's office to avoid that sort of behavior from a prosecutor?
I think what we talked about earlier is a way to promote that, or to prevent that from happening, actually, is, having the open forum. If people felt more comfortable about it, it would be something that was on the table to discuss, so people would feel less likely that it was something that they had to hide.
Now, I want to ask a few questions about the class that you took where you wrote this paper, Ethical Prosecutions, with Professor Karen Cambry. What do you think was the biggest takeaway you had from that class?
For me personally, I would have to say that as much as I believe that I have a strong moral compass, that there will be things in this work that are going to test me, and that every decision isn't just going to be able to be a quick decision, because there are things out there that will make you question and pause. And she presented us with hypotheticals, and in some of those situations I really asked myself, like, wow, what would I do? Whereas before I thought that there would be no problem making the right decision and making it quickly at all times. But there was definitely situations that she presented us with that I had to pause and think.
If you had any words of wisdom to pass on to a student who would consider taking this class in the future, what would they be?
I would say either side, if you want to do criminal litigation, whether it be either side, that you definitely would have something to gain from this class. It's extremely informative. Issues that I didn't even realize were out there were presented in this class. So I really enjoyed it.
Cheri, thank you for sitting down with me and discussing your paper. It's going to be published very soon, and we're looking forward to getting it out there so that people can discuss it in the community.
Thank you.
Thank you.